right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're looking at a Scania truck factory tour production. Now, this is kind of cool. You know, I love the Euro trucks, especially the Scanias. And this is kind of cool seeing some behind the scenes of how these big beasts are made. I haven't really done something like this. Really excited to see this. This is suggested by a couple people. And this is from Blog Cars and Vehicles. No, Cars and Performance. So make sure to check them out in the description down below, okay? They will be linked down there, and you can watch this whole video uninterrupted as I'm just going to skip around. Real quick, this is going to be interesting for me because you get to see how these are made, and I'm going to compare it to how I have seen assembly plants because guess what? I worked in one for 8 years. I worked in a Jeep assembly plant here in the United States, and obviously it would be a little different than this because we're dealing with smaller vehicles than a huge semi truck, but you get the point. It would be cool to see some of the differences. All right, here we go. Okay, so we got some big castings there. Wow. I didn't see any of this anything like this because everything in our assembly plant was pretty much just bolting it together. We didn't have engine block castings and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Basically what I mean is the engines were already fully ready to go by the time they got to our plant. They were made at a separate engine plant. So this is like totally new to me. Of course, when you're dealing with a semi-truck, this is a really big engine too. So if you don't already know, this is really huge. Your engine in most cars, or in all cars rather, is not anywhere near this big. Love the gear. They had Scania shirts on, very cool. We used to have a Jeep Polo we would wear. It said like Jeep right here. Theirs is really cool. That's awesome. Look at that. You see the engines coming up. Now, what's interesting is these are inline sixes, yeah? So Scania does make inline sixes then, okay. So I know a lot of their trucks are V8. Look at that. Look at those beauties, brand new. How cool is that? Very cool. And here, this has got to be the frame, yeah? Very cool. That's a big frame. Look at all that hardware. Looks pretty heavy duty. Yeah. I've gotten a lot of amazing comments from people over this trucking saga. So I know I've already had people that have worked at dealerships and maybe worked for some of the companies, which is awesome. But anyone watching this one, have you or do you know someone that has worked at a Scania factory? Maybe they worked at a Scania dealer or something. Yeah, it would be really cool if they worked at a factory like this. Maybe you worked for another factory, you know, Mercedes or Renault or MAN, you know, whoever, right? What was it like? Was it a good job? You know, decent pay, you know, all that stuff? I imagine this is a pretty good job. Look at that. Wow. Starting to marry parts together now. Yeah. It's amazing. It really is amazing when you see how vehicles come together in a factory and then you think that thousands of them, you know, are pumped out. Well, at least Jeeps, you know, we pumped out a couple thousand every day. Pretty wild. Especially when you see on a way bigger scale vehicle like this. Look at the Scania name everywhere. Very cool. Look at that drivetrain. That is robust. Okay, we got some sort of, I don't know if this would be like an engineer or some sort of manager just looking over some models there. Look at that cool Scania badge, man. Oh, that is so cool. Is this like the grill area? They're gonna stamp it on? Oh, that's iconic right there. That's hella iconic. Yeah, they're assembling the grill piece up front. Wow, how cool is that? I mean, I guess that could be considered the whole fascia, maybe, whatever you would call it. There's the iconic logo right down there, and then that awesome font that we all know and love. How cool is that, man? So yeah, of course, like you would expect, you have a mix of automation and, you know, people. That's how our plant here in the States was for Jeep. Wow, look at those big cabs. Pretty wild. The cab comes down and gets married to the chassis, the frame, right? Very cool. That's a lot of work though, man. That's, like I said, they got it down to a science. It's very impressive. What is this? Is this the fuel tank? That might be the fuel tank, yeah? Got to get that mounted correctly. And then there's that beautiful front fascia. Wow, how cool is that, man? This is a R450. I saw the badge. So one of the smaller trucks, right? Because some of their higher trucks have upwards of 700 plus horsepower, correct? This one being maybe like a mid-tier truck. Cool nonetheless. Look at those awesome, humongous wheels and tires. What a beautiful setup. And we had the same thing. You saw that arm. It is human controlled, but you had that arm that would basically put all the lug nuts on at once. So ours only had 5 lug nuts. This has what, 8 or 10? You see, you line that up and get the tire mounted, and then you move that arm in, and zzz, and it does all of them. You know, supposedly to the right torque settings all at once. So it's kind of cool, you know. And then, yep, I did material delivery as well. So I was mostly on forklifts. Every once in a while, when it was needed, I would ride what was called like a tugger. You know, basically like that, exactly like that. Ours were slightly bigger, like basically the same, just had like a hood up front. And yeah, we would tow, they were electric, and we would tow parts to the line. So that's like materials and handling department, which was a preferred department. I was very lucky to be in it. And yeah, that's cool to see that as well. I can definitely relate to that. Now this plant looks a lot different because I feel like it goes kind of, you could see a lot of turns in here. So it's more maybe circular, although I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that. I only have one vantage point here. Ours was very linear, like, you know, one line and it turns and then another line. And then, so it was like totally up and down, right? It never really went sideways that much. Of course, it was 2 levels. Sometimes the car would go up and then come back down. So in theory, this would be somewhat similar, but of course have its own differences as well. This is just very interesting to see, man. There's another material handler. Very cool. You have to make some tight turns, you know, too. It could get kind of sketchy out there, you know, like you got to watch out. Don't want to wreck into stuff and ruin some parts. There she goes. That's cool, man. I can totally relate to that. That is wild. There's a forklift. I did that as well. That's nice. They had nicer forklifts than we had. Yeah, these are nice enclosed with the windows. Ours were totally open. And they were a mix of propane and propane power and electric power. There's a flatbed. You see those in there towing stuff around. But yeah, there's the final product. Now remember, we've skipped around, so you're going to want to check this original video and the link down there so you can watch the whole thing uninterrupted, of course. But let's get a look at the final product here. Look at a brand new, shiny Scania that has a lot of work and a lot of miles ahead of it, or kilometers. Beautiful trucks, though, aren't they? You saw that nice, it looked like a digital torque wrench there, making sure everything is in correct spec. Really cool. The 3D schematics are awesome to see. I'm going to go off on a limb here and assume that these Scanias are, you know, very high on the quality list, right? Like they're great build quality. I would assume that. They certainly look like everyone takes it seriously, thorough. Looks like a very clean assembly plant. And there's a view from the outside. Very, very cool. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a quick look. Like I said, check that whole video out in the description and check their channel out. Very, very cool suggestion, guys. I love this. Learning more and more about these trucks and seeing them really get made, seeing them, a new Scania born is, wow, that's a cool experience. This particular Scania plant was at Give my pronunciation here. I'm going to be probably totally wrong. Meppel and Zwol plants in Netherlands. So I didn't expect that. I really didn't know where we were at. I was going to assume maybe Sweden or something. No, we're in the Netherlands for this one. So that was very cool. So yeah, have you seen this plant? Do you work there? That would be awesome. Let me know. What other Scania plants are there active right now that are different than this one? You can let me know that as well. But at the end of the day, I really hope you enjoyed this. Please throw a thumbs up on there if you did. And of course, subscribe to be a part of this amazing community. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. And until next time, y'all, I'll catch you later.